Hey, it's Azriel Lawless, and once again, you have fallen straight into Hella Vella and found yourself another Lawless interview. Today, we're going to interview HaleyBCU. Her last name is so long that she's had to shorten it to just BCU. So say hi, Haley.
Hey there.
Haley writes some awesome flows out on Kindle Vella, and I'm really excited to talk to her today about her journey writing. And we are going to get started right now. What's the first question I ask everybody? When did you get started writing?
Oh gosh, for sure. I loved the movie and a book series about Clue. Have you ever seen the film?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so there was a Scholastic book series, and there were 14 or 15 of them. And when they were getting right up to 12, we had this lesson in school, and we had to write our own book. And I was like, I'm going to write the 13th one before they release the 13th one. I'm going to write the next one. And so I did. And that was about second grade. And we got to put it in a little print book, and it was like a little hardback. And we put a little Caldecott gold seal on it, and it was just the coolest thing. So I actually had a book, and I was like, oh God, like I want to do this. This is what I want to do, like for sure. So it's kind of fan fiction, I think, is the answer for so many people. And that's the answer for me too, before I knew what fan fiction was.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was either until I was probably 40. Well, wow, what a story. All right. So, do you still have that?
Somewhere amidst all of the books, which I think most people can identify with.
I was gonna say, hey man, you gonna put that out on Vella? Because that's what a lot of these authors are doing, man. They saw the first bonus and they're like, I'm gonna go find everything I ever wrote.
Meltdown, one of my stories, is one of the first iterations of this dramatic heroine character, this tortured gal, that's my bread and butter. I love to put a dramatic twist on things that don't necessarily need to be dramatic, and then make it a little funny and a little eviscerating. Like, I want to make you cry, but I'd love to see you bleed, and that's what I'm here for. So
I don't want to hurt you. No, what is it? The last thing I want to do is hurt you, but it's still on the list.
Perfect. That's about how I feel. I'm here to I don't know, I'm here to move you, but we'll see. We're not there yet.
I absolutely know that you are the kind of author who moves a person through their work, because let me tell you what's on the head of her, like the masthead of her website. It says, bringing fine ass fiction from my brain to your face holes. As soon as I read that, I'm like, yes, hermana. You and me. Okay. So from the second grade, all right, so we know, I can just see you there. I see this little Haley with her little book, and she's like, yes, this is what I want to do.
I do have those Clue books too. I still have the whole series. Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh my God. So yeah, okay. Maybe you should just write your own, like, series.
When I realized people could write fan fiction, like for things like Star Wars, I got into Star Wars. Anything that was a series, you know what I mean? Anything that had just a few. I didn't like the Babysitter's Club. I read all of those. There were so many. Why not? I got to hang out with the same people all the time. I got to know them better. And I think that's what I love about series writing, is I want to know your characters. Like, I want to be thinking about what they're thinking about when I'm in line at the bank, like when I am out in the world. I want to feel everything.
Right, exactly. And I think that's great. And so I want to know, what was the next thing you wrote? When did you write something, let's say as an adult? When did you write something as an adult that you wanted to sell?
My first novel came out last year, so I'm 35 now. But I started writing it when I was 27, and I aged myself down 10 years. So I said, all right, when I was 17, where would I be? And I said I'd be in gym, and I effing hate gym class. I hate it so much. And that is the opening line of my first book. And I wrote what I knew. You take that, that's the most golden piece of advice in the world. People are like, what's your writing advice? I'm like, write what you know. And you're like, I don't know anything interesting. And I'm like, that's fine. You'll find a story if you just listen to the character. They'll tell you their secrets. Like, you'll find everybody has some deep, dark thing, some terrible, fun, icky sticky in their lives. And I don't know. I want to know what it is. But obviously I don't get to know everybody's, so I just make up my own.
Exactly. And plus, we don't really want to know everybody else's foibles and faux pas, do we? I don't think we'd go out, and I think we'd be wearing a hell of a lot more than masks.
That's true. I want to know what makes you tick. That's what it is.
Yes. Well, that's cool. All right. So then you wrote your first book, and what is that called?
4-letter words, Act 1.
Right. That's also, though, a Vella, isn't it?
Act 2 is a Vella, which is actually on my hat.
Oh, I see. Okay. Let's have it get in there. These are sucky cameras. All right.
And that's me outside of this apartment building with handcuffs on as my character, because you got to make it happen. Better than paying somebody. I can stand out there for a few hours while my husband snaps a million pictures. So yeah, you got to get down and do it. I never use any photos that aren't my own, which is one of my things too, like on any of my covers or that. I try to always, I want to do the whole thing. I want it all to be my baby, my imprint, I don't know, just my signature.
Well, you're doing a great job so far. So that's 4-letter words. Act 2 is a Vella.
Yep. Yes.
All right. And 4-letter words 1, that was published last year, 2021.
In February.
In February. Okay.
And yeah, it is available right now on Kindle Unlimited.
Excellent. 2021, we had 4-letter words part 1. And that was a novel of yours that had been in the making for a little more than 5 years.
Yeah. So I went through, I don't know how personal we want to get with these, how light we want to keep them, like where we want to go.
We go wherever we go.
Okay. Well, hi, my name is Haley, and I'm a recovered alcoholic. Okay. So I spent about 3 years being a gosh darn mess and getting better. And so when I decided I needed a project, like something to do, I was like, this character, this girl, Allie Jean, I'm like, she's it. I'm like, I'm gonna release this book. I'm like, I'm gonna have this as my project and then be better through that. And I have been sober since December 5th, 2018.
Well, congratulations. Yes, definitely heartfelt. Yeah, no, I have there's no restrictions on what we say here as far as, certainly nothing. Well, I mean, horrible, but going there. All right.
It's part of my story, so I'm pretty honest about it. I'll put I'm an ex-drunk on there all the time because I want people to just feel comfortable telling, just talking with me. Like, everybody's got a story and it's okay. There's nothing to be ashamed of, Man,
I don't know if you could fill a room with people who were not an ex something.
Right. But
sure would be a dull room.
Yeah. And I mean, it gave me this wonderful mess of a character too. She is just a constant disaster, like I was. But I'm less of a disaster now, which is
right. You're beautiful disaster now. That's different.
That's the key.
that's a different thing. And that's just when you are just letting your personality hang out. That's what I do.
You are fabulous. This is so much fun.
Oh, kid, I just spent a lot of time being very much, stymied and in the corporate world, completely vanilla. And I'm just not that kind of person. I walk around my house in these, I mean, this is some kind, this is a, like a,
Oh, cool.
this,
Ah,
and it's a floor length dress, and it's, you know, it's just, I guess I look like I should probably be in a castle somewhere, but
oh, that's so rad.
I like it. There's not, I don't have to go to work. So I get to dress how I want to dress, you know?
I never grew up. So, I mean, that is my style.
Right.
I come from the retail world. So I had jobs where I had to be business casual, but my last job was Spencer's. And that I was working between Spencer's and Piercing Pagoda when I started Four Letter Words Act One. Oh, the crown. Amazing.
There you go. Yeah, it's right. I had it right here in my drawer.
Oh my golly. Now I am so much more comfortable now.
Oh man.
Yes.
I'm definitely, I like to be what I feel like being. So okay, so back to what we're talking about, just writing. Now we need to get on with the Vella train. I want to know when you heard about Vella, how you heard about Vella, and what made you decide to write for Vella.
Absolutely. I believe it was on Reddit, actually. I was
Ooh.
just trying to find a place to talk about my book because I was working on getting it together, and I knew I was going to release it on Kindle, but I wanted to release it wider. I wasn't sure what was going on, so it wasn't available yet. So I knew about it before it started, and then once the program began, I was like, all right, I think I'll release Act Two on. I wanted to release Four Letter Words as one book, but my editor was like, Haley, you can't have an 800-page first novel. No one's going to want to read that. So we chopped it in half, and that's why we have Act One and Act Two.
So how many words did Four Letter Words wind up being, Act One?
Oh golly, off the top of my head, I'm not sure. It's about 530 pages.
You don't know word count?
I could check. I don't know.
No. I'm curious for my own information.
It's a long one. It my first edit was like it was almost as long as War and Peace. It was, but then I of course edited. You know,
I don't
yeah,
think
I had
so.
a screenshot. It was like the second or third longest like book like ever written, and I was like, okay, I'm like, you got a little extreme, but one of my favorite books is Hannibal, and there are 100 chapters. So when I wrote my book, I was like, all right, I want 100 chapters. I'm like, that'll be great. I think I'll get there. And it did, and I got to like 103 just naturally. That's where the story ended. So I was like, cool, we're good to go. And my editor is like, this is a fantastic book. You're a maniac. This needs to be 3 books. And I had to convince her to do 2.
Wow.
So yeah, but if Vella had been an option when we did that, I would have just begun releasing it. And I don't even know how I would have released it. I think maybe even in novellas, maybe in smaller bits, but I've written an entire series. It's 4 letter words, 5 stages of grief, 6 levels of cognition, 7 deadly sins, 8th circle of hell, 9 lives, 10 ink blots, 11th hour. And we might be done, but there might be one more. And that's my series. So they're mostly done, like 80% done everywhere, but it's not anything. Like the 3rd book is complete, as well as 5 stages of grief.
Wait a second. Okay, so there's 4 letter words, Act 1 and Act 2.
Right.
And you just prattled off like, I don't know, like 9 different books.
Yep. Yeah. I love to write. I didn't write for a while, and then I got right back on into it. And you know what I mean? When you get an idea and your brain's on fire and you just gotta roll with it. And but again, so much editing to be done. So it's not like I can be like, hey, I've got these books, because man, the edits take so long.
Yes,
Thank golly for Pro Writing Aid and my
but you've ripped through it already, though. It sounds like
yeah,
you've ripped through a first draft for the most part.
yes, yeah. There's scenes, you know what I mean? There's little connective bits that have to be located mostly. They're in notebooks, things like that. So I'm like counting what is actually in my computer. Yeah.
Okay, so these are, and are they related insofar as they are the same characters and the same?
Yep.
Okay.
It's the same family. Yeah. Yeah. It's the same
Wow.
narrator all the way through. You actually follow Allie Jean from age 17, and I'm writing in what's theoretically the last book right now, and she's about 60, which is really fun. A lot of my younger friends are like, why would you want to write somebody in their 60s? And I'm like, why not? Like, you know.
Oh my God, you're the only other I see now. One of mine, I'm taking her from 13 years old. She'll be 90 something when it's done. She'll be in her 90s. You'll probably
Do
get
it.
to see her end.
That's amazing. I'm
And
not that brave yet. I'm burning down the whole village. I'm taking everybody else out, but I had to leave my last man standing so far. We'll see what happens.
I don't know. We'll see. But you're the only other person I've heard talk about doing an arc like that, you know, and it's a very ambitious arc.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
people don't like the first one, you're kind of sunk, but we're doing all right. People seem to enjoy it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
This is like one of my favorite writers is John Irving. Are you familiar with his work?
I'm not.
Prayer for Owen Meany.
Mm-mm.
Oh my God. Okay. So no, he just does these big lifelong arcs. You know, you get to
Awesome.
see, you know, he's a master at it. I can only, I aspire to be like that and to be able to write an arc like that. And I think I can. It sounds like you actually already have.
I'm
So,
trying. I'm trying to be a crazy person and connect the end of that series to Ari in the Underground somehow,
well,
which is it's too much.
this is what I was going to say. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this for a second. Okay.
Sure.
So far you've told me about 4-letter words part 2, which is the first Vella you put up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Correct.
Then what was the next one? Was it Ari in the Underground?
Ari in the Underground is my other long running series. Yeah. And that is it's going to be a series as well. I've got about 2 to 3 books written there so far, but it continues. So it's so perfect for Vella. Like there are break points, but I don't want to stop with these characters. I'm kind of writing it in my head like a TV show. So
yes.
the Vella format was just made
right.
for it.
It sounds like it's made for you.
Yeah. I
So,
have never been so productive with editing, which is it's the bane of my existence. You know, the whole thing, write drunk, edit sober. I don't drink anymore, but I used to do it opposite. I used to write sober and edit drunk. And so, I know, but I was a monster at it. I was so good at I would plow through so much, and I would look the next day and be like, because I wouldn't be afraid to cut. I would just be eviscerating and I would get it done. So now, my edits, I'm so married to all these words, and it's agonizing to pull things out. And I feel everything. I'm so aware. I'm so here. I'm so present. So it's a longer process, but I think that they're obviously better for it. My brain is better for it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so it's exciting. I love doing this. I couldn't be happier.
I am so happy to hear you say that. That is so wonderful. I feel exactly the same way. And Vella has been a vehicle that has allowed so many people from so many different paths to jump in and realize a dream of writing. It's wonderful. It's absolutely amazing. So you didn't write before you did your book that you had actually
I had a fan fiction website, and I actually ran an archive for a bunch of different series. I wrote, I would take a show like Married with Children, which is kind of crass and sitcom-y, and I would write a dramatic episode. And that's what I would do. And I would release those on fanfiction. On fanfiction.net, I am Haley. That's how old my account is. You can look at it. My name is just Haley, Haley. That is me on fanfiction.net. Wow. That is some cringy old epilogue stuff, but I still get likes on it. I have a few Hey Arnold ones up there that people will come through. I'll see it in my email and I'm like, people are still liking these stories. And they're just these short little emotional scenes between characters. And that's my bread and butter though. So I just wanted to write it in a big long arc. And that's why I did 4-letter words. And then Ari came around to just give me, I needed a break from, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Just tell me how you categorize 4-letter words. I want you to tell people who are listening,
Oh,
what are
golly.
its tags? What are its categories?
Sure. All right. I would call it, oh gosh, this is so hard for me because I feel like I write like 17 genres. I feel like I cover everything. I call it a love story and a death story and a horror story. It's about Allie Jean. She's 17, and it's a coming of age in the first novel, but we just roll right through, and there's romance, but it's mostly about these family connections, about like lost loved ones and like past trauma and just identification. Like it's these heavy themes supplanted like through this character. She's a little bit of a mess, and she has an older husband. She meets him when she's in high school, and he's one of her teachers, and they just end up together regardless. And she meets her biological father through this, and it's this character's life, and she has kids. They move to New York. That's a spoiler, but
so it's a slice of life.
there you go. I have such a hard time categorizing it because sometimes it's dark humor. You know what I mean? I'm very sardonic.
Right.
Like you talk about, like there are triggering things in there. There's a lot of things about death.
Doing this in a world where there's no magic. There's no. This is correct. Realistic. So this is slice of life.
Okay, I've been waiting for someone to tell me what I write.
Well, I mean, I would call it that.
Perfect. No, seriously, I wasn't being sarcastic in any facet. When people ask me what my genres are, I fumble every single time because the first book is kind of a coming of age, but then I try to give each book a different kind of feel. Like I do like a medical drama story too, like a bit, and then I do like just like different styles of book kind of through each story, but they end up being memoirs. The main character writes all the books.
Oh wow.
So that's so they're her memoirs, and that's how we do it. So it's just very personal. There's so many feelings, and if you like it from the first few pages, in my opinion. Like if you like her narrative, it's fun. And yeah, I don't know, the stories are exciting. I like to write a little bit of action and everything too. There's some blood, there's lots of fights. Are you
writing in the first person?
Always. Yeah.
Always? Okay.
First person, past tense. That is me. And man, tenses are a heck of a thing. So that's I have so many different cheat sheets because my decision is that my character is writing from their present, so they're alive, so they are, I am, like things that don't change about their traits. But obviously if we're talking about the series, like I was standing there, it's, oh God, I literally made a cheat sheet for myself so I don't screw it up constantly.
Okay. So this is 4-letter words, and
Allie Jean series.
And they are slice of life. They're realistic. Yep. Read them. They're funny. It's got dark humor, just the foibles of life. So then we have Ari in the Underground. Now that's different.
Yes. Urban fantasy is kind of what I like to call it. But we get a little bit of zombie in there. We get, I don't know, it's there's definitely romance, a little bit of enemies to lovers going on. We have so much fun. Ari is just a blast. It's an action adventure, like in my opinion. Like that is my favorite movie is Back to the Future Part 2. So I just love action adventure. And like sometimes if you're talking to me when I'm writing like 5 Stages of Grief, even though it's about the stages of grief, I think that one's an action adventure. We start in jail. Like we are like piecing together like crazy things that have happened. And it's always a little bit of a mystery. There's always like something we've solved toward the end. Like we've figured out like some weird, wow. I like to write all the genres. So classify, I know people are like, write to market, write to genre. And I'm like, oh golly. I'm like, that's a great plan, isn't it? But Ari works a little bit better for that, at least.
Yes. So Ari there's a supernatural element to Ari in the Underground. So tell us about Ari in the Underground.
Arthricia Moore, oh golly. All right, what is my spiel? I get nervous about this one because I love her so much. She is pissed. She's just got a shit attitude because her dad is missing. He was a New York City police detective. He went missing investigating hundreds upon hundreds of missing persons cases, centralized around a certain area. And our opening scene is Ari walking into a shop where she knows this was the location that her father last was before he disappeared, like presumed dead. And it's been, I believe, 6 or 7 years, and she is 23. So she's just broken. Ari is an alcoholic, and she is trying to find him. You know what I mean? Like, just figure out what happened. And because he was also trying to solve all these cases, so she's obsessed with justice. But also she's very sassy, and she runs into lots of crazy things. She meets Gary in the first scene, who runs a weed shop, like a bong shop, a head shop. There you go. That's the right term.
Yeah.
And I basically, I started because I was like, I want to write a story with a magic bong inside. And I want to give myself a silly story to write instead of, to give myself a break from writing 4-letter words, because it was really heavy. And then I gave her a very dramatic backstory right away and was like, well, that's all right. I don't do light, but I can do fun. And it's very fun. There's, oh gosh, there's fire, there's telepathy. We can heal, we can hurt, we have power. It's a good time. I am influenced heavily by Rob Thurman, who doesn't write a ton anymore, but I've always got her book right here. Amazing writer. Her style, she taught me what this is my girl. She went by the name Rob because she started publishing back when women could not really write urban fantasy and get taken seriously. I think this was Rock through Penguin, and they made her go as Rob. And like her first book was just like not even a picture of her in there, talked in like, yeah. And this was, now mind you, this was like, it feels like a million years ago, but 2006. And she had to release, they were like, they will never take you seriously writing this if you're a lady. And how crushing, right? But then second or third book, New York Times bestsellers, like amazing stories. She wrote real Ghostbusters fan fiction that I was obsessed with back in the day. I would print it out and carry it around in binders and read it to people. I would sit them down and read them her stories because I'm like, this is so good, you don't understand. Like, these stories are amazing. And she wrote these wonderful, like, creepy zombies and all this horror. And that horror edge is where I get my Ari in the Underground story. I love these books. I highly recommend these to anybody. It's a wonderful series. Yeah.
And so I thought I saw that said Nightlife or something.
Nightlife is the first one. Yeah, by Rob Thurman. Just this narrative is amazing. And I am exposing myself as a fraud now because you're like, this is where she gets her sass. Like, it's very similar. But obviously, I mean, we're all different people, but her narrative is unlike any other I've ever read. She gets me. And I was like, I want to write like this person. So
well, that's exciting. That's exciting. Yeah. It's always exciting when you can connect with another author on that level, that sort of visceral level. And you're like, yeah, that's like, I want to talk, Yeah,
I followed her from writing this fan fiction to being like a published author. Like, we were like in communication, but she's retired and gone recluse. She's no longer in contact. She's not online. She has gone away. So very mysterious. Yeah, I know. So if you're out there, Robin, thanks.
Thanks. Yes.
Yeah.
So now what else do you have out there besides so we've got Ari in the Underground, we've got 4-letter words, Act 2. Do you have anything else out there?
Meltdown is
Meltdown.
Yes. Meltdown is, we were talking about like, different things to put on Vella, and it was a story that I love, but I always was concerned. Like, it's very intense content. It's like there's abuse, like, and it's it's just an intense story. It's a wonderful story. I love it, but I always was like, this lives on my computer. This really, I don't know if anybody would even appreciate reading this. but I think I have like a gentle touch, and it's about, you know, healing and redemption, because that's what all my stories are about in the end, and hope and love. I write love stories. Like, I can make it a horror story, but it's still a love story in the end, because I think every story is a love story. That's the secret. Be it, you know,
That could be
romance.
argued ad nauseum. I mean, that could be argued a long time.
Of course. I love a good debate though. But I mean, every story is a love story in the way where it's either the motivation for revenge. It's driven someone there. Every story is like, it's based in love, or even the lack of love, love turning to hate. Like, it's all about love, baby. So yeah, I don't know, in a way, that's my opinion, of course.
Yeah, I might agree with that, but I think also I think maybe it's always about love or money. I think there's like, what is it, like 3 or 4 major overarching themes that you
Yeah.
can actually write about when you distill down the whole of human, you know, literature. It's like 4 stories basically, or something like that. I can't remember. You know, anyone who's watching this, feel free to comment and tell us how many basic stories there are. Like, there's only so many ways to say,
Right.
my dog got ran over, my man's cheating on me, or whatever. So there's only so many ways to say that, and most things are about redemption, don't you think?
I do. That's it. Always ends up being that way. I need to care. I've got to care. Like, you know what I mean? That's in the end, just make me care. Because I'm a sucker. Like, I'm a schmuck. Like, you know, I love a good love story. I love a good sad story, but I also love like action, you know, as long as you got heart behind it, I'm sold. So
Right, and you need to know that your characters are human. You need
yeah.
to
Oh
know
God.
that,
Authenticity.
yeah,
Authenticity, Azriel. People get so caught up in thinking they're more complicated than they are. You know what I mean? And thinking that people are so gosh darn deep and complex. And like what we were talking about with stories, we are so simple. And you know, if you get out of your own way and just write what you know, you'll get
right.
somewhere. And that's it, you know. And I mean, of course, there's so much, there's more to it than that, but I mean, like, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, you do. There is a lot more to it than that, I think. But at the same time, my husband rides BMX, okay? And he's 50 years old, and he never did it before he turned 50. It's just something he wanted to do when he was a kid. And there's this place where he rides, and they've got this huge banner up, and it says, every accomplishment begins with the decision to try.
Perfection. I love it.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quote words. I know, you know, word nerds always get it. Like, just like a sentence like that sometimes can just take you through your day.
Yeah.
Golly. And then when it comes out of your head, sometimes just rereading your own, like, right, I know it takes you, because there's so much garbage that I write, and I just got to slog through all this junk, and then I'll just do this golden sentence in the middle, and I go, oh, what were you doing? How can I replicate this? What did you do that day? You know, like,
yeah. Do you do anything out on TikTok or Instagram yet?
I am learning. I've been on Instagram for a long time. I'm learning TikTok. I just had a video just crack 1,000 views or so, which was exciting, which isn't a lot, you know, but views.
No, that's a lot for me. I'm just like way down in there in the hundreds. And what I was going to say is, like, you know, these book flips, they're pretty popular, where you take a book and you flip it, and oh my God, I have got some wonderful reference books, because I am into all the weird occult stuff, right?
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah. So anyway, so I got this really great, you know, it's called The False Monarchy of Demons, and I'm flipping through that sucker, and it's so cool looking. But then it's time to go on a profundity search through your writing to try and find something that you put a little snippet of text, and you're like,
and then you I'm always like, I gotta make a list of quotes, and I have so many folders like that say quotes on my laptop, just because I'm like, I know there's something good in here somewhere. Somewhere there's people liked. They told me this was good. Somebody liked this, like, right? Or just, yeah. Sometimes you look at something you've edited to the nines the night before, and you wake up the next day, and you're like, you thought you were done?
I don't even
You're
like
not
this stuff
done.
anymore. But yeah, so yeah, when you do find that rare line where it's like, oh my goodness, well, I was I was definitely, my teeth were sparkling that day, with that little ding.
Oh golly, yeah, there's five or seven of them floating around that are pretty good. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Okay, so then you've got Meltdown, and like you said, that's like that's another slice of life, and how it can get you all fucked up in the end.
Yeah, and it's a love story too, though, but we are I like it. People seem to really enjoy it. I'm surprised. I almost released it under a pen name, not because I think I was maybe like a little bit afraid, but I didn't want people to like be like, oh, this is what she writes. I really don't like this. I'm not gonna read any of this. But then I was like, authenticity. I remembered my move. That's authentically me. This is the story I wanted to write. Why not? I have so many directors I love or writers I love. I don't love everything they do.
Right, that's true, and then you think about music, not every artist will float your boat, everything they throw out there, and I don't think they're trying to.
It's a perfect story for somebody, and that's the key. That's why it makes me less afraid to just release things when I think about that. Like, somebody is going to be moved or at least feel something. I just want to make you feel something.
So Meltdown is done, it's finished?
It is, yeah. Everything I'm releasing on Vella is finished, but they're not all completed on Vella. They are all written on my computer being edited.
Oh, okay, and being edited. Okay, and yes. Then scheduled later, probably.
Yes, I just am I'm trying to release an episode a week for each series. Yes. I've been nailing it for the past 2 months, and my productivity has just gone up. I've been hosting some writing groups and just sitting with the people and working. It's amazing. So just been trying to get as many up as possible.
That's pretty cool. we're gonna try that.
It's so much fun.
Writing groups. Yeah. It's such a solitary craft that sometimes it's nice to be in a classroom again with somebody over there. Oh, look at what they're doing. Okay, I better keep typing.
Right, for so long, because I'm social. I'm very social. And there's right. And I make friends at the grocery store. I make friends anywhere. Shocking. And so I just, being alone is, I would write at work. I would write at the Piercing Pagoda. So they would pay me, and my mall was a dead mall. And that's how I wrote most of the book, in notebooks, like Piercing Pagoda brand notebooks that I was supposed to take like notes for piercings in. And I just wrote my book in there. And it took me a while to type it all up. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I got paid in one way, and then so that was kind of neat. But it was just and of course, though, it was a dead mall, so now there are really no stores left, because that's what happens with those.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's what's going on all over the country, though.
It was dying before. I closed that Borders. I worked at Borders there. It was amazing. It was a great place.
Right. And now I don't know, they're using a lot of these malls, they're trying to figure out what to do with them.
We have an aquarium. They actually we have a big aquarium. We have like an interactive dinosaur exhibit. It's more like a lifestyle center. They've also put in a bunch of state offices in one end. There's still a 99 restaurant. Like, there's some community things that happen. They have like farmers markets on the weekend. The carnival comes there. I went to the carnival there last summer. Cool. So they're using it like a community space, but this specific mall, it's called Rotterdam Square. But now it's called Viaport Rotterdam, and it's a magical place. And especially because I wrote my book my first book there. So
That is
it's
so
always going to
cool.
be special to me.
Oh, that's awesome, kid. That's awesome. I love hearing that. I did see one mall that was turned into living quarters.
Cool.
Yeah. Right. It was
Anything
like
to
this
repurpose
big,
it.
you just sort of lived in this little indoor town with people.
Amazing. How great is that when there's crummy weather? I mean, upstate New York, hello, we are freezing. It was 38 degrees last night. What's going on? It's spring. Like it's so cold up here.
What's going on? Yeah. This is
Yeah.
the climate change that we're all like, I thought I was gonna be dead for that.
Oh golly, gosh, nah. I'm vegan. I try to help as much as I can. I can't afford an electric car yet. I'm working on it.
Oh my God. I saw where some dude strapped dynamite to his Tesla and blew it up in a quarry because the battery replacement was going to be $22,000. So he just blew the damn car up. It's like, that's it. I don't need to see that.
Well, it's pretty much almost the price of the car. They're not like the low end model of the Teslas, I think like 25 or 26,000.
Right.
Yeah.
Ridiculous amounts of money that.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah.
Yes.
That's the best battery out there though. And when they work. Yeah.
Yeah. Unless they catch fire.
Yeah. Oh.
And then they burn like a phosphorus fire and burn so hot that there's no remains. You don't even need to cremate the people who got killed in the wreck. You just go up with a dustpan, sweep them up in it, and then find an ice box. I don't know. So, but all right, no. Next we have, okay, so what else? You've already told me that these are like 80-90% done and you're just editing these. What are you writing on? What is that brain of yours working on writing?
I am working on connecting my Supernatural series with my Slice of Life series at the end, like a crazy person. That's a big spoiler, but I mean that's fine. It doesn't matter.
Pretty awesome. Can be done.
I think that people are going to either read one series or the other. So it's just like a fun Easter egg because like when one series ends, the other character is just going to pop up in the other series every once in a while because it all takes place in New York City. Like I'm a New York gal. The first book is up in upstate New York. I actually it's modeled after kind of where I grew up, which is East Greenbush, between there and Galway, New York. But I put it in Paradox because it's even more out in the boonies. And also, Back to the Future Part 2 is my favorite movie. And Part 2 and 3 were the secret name for them was Paradox when they were being filmed. And they were actually filmed back to back. They wanted to release one giant movie instead of doing Part 2 and Part 3. That's why they filmed them that way. And it was going to be called Paradox. Oh. So yeah, that's my other little Easter egg so that's Allie Jean's town that she grew up in, is Paradox. Oh, cool. And Paradox exists, so it's a real town in upstate New York. There's a tiny little movie theater and it's very, very small.
Wow, that's neat. That's neat. I like small towns, actually.
It's cute. I mean, up here it's beautiful. I can't complain. I love New York. I set my books in New York, but it's also because I write what I know, so I know New York, but I'd love to be somewhere else one day or travel more.
Yes. I enjoyed traveling until COVID shut that down. Yes.
We travel in the car. We go to the drive-in a lot and we'll drive to really far ones. New York State has the most drive-ins in the whole country.
I bet. Well, no, I wouldn't bet. I didn't know that.
It's cool, right? What I mean, because considering it's like a winter, we have so much winter. You would think that we would be in a state where they would be open longer, but no, that's us. We're just special. We're cool. We got in on the drive-in renaissance. I'm a nerd about a lot of things, so that's one of them. I'm a big film buff.
I really think they should have more of them. It's such a nice option for a family.
Yeah, and it's just safe during COVID too. So I mean, that's why we love going to the movies, and then we can sit and we'll bring like dinner with us, and we'll just chill. And I mean, I've got like a funky back too, so like wherever I go places, I have to bring like a cushion, and so I don't have to drag my little cushion in the movie theater and then forget my little cushion and then have to run back into the movie theater and be like, "Excuse me, sir, I left my butt cushion in your theater in theater 8. I'm not trying to sneak into a movie. Can I please go up? But also if I was trying to sneak into a movie, it's not a bad idea. And they would probably let me get back in.
Most likely. Most likely. Yes. Not wanting to know what you're doing with your butt cushion at any time. They're just like, I'm done. Let her
And
go.
I'm writing a movie too. Oh God, I am writing a bunch of things. It's
Okay.
called Trail Satan. And it's a fun movie. It's kind of like I would say it's kind of like Blair Witch meets Texas Chainsaw, but it's a little bit sarcastic. And I have like 2 vegan influencers going into the woods with a bunch of their non-vegan friends and trying to make them pretend to be vegan and then go just like go to the woods, and they're all posers and they don't know how to hike, and they're all going to get lost, and then they're going to get stalked by a bunch of cannibals that live in the woods that think they have to make vegan jerky because vegan jerky is very popular. You know, all vegan food's popular right now. They have to make it out of vegan people, so they're stalking them. Yeah, it's a very farcical, funny idea because although I'm a serious gal, I'm like, for my first, I want to film this. I'm writing a movie to film myself. I have a GoPro, I'm going to do it. It would be easier if it's funny because I don't quite know what I'm doing. So I can be kind of jerky and be a little weird, but I love Kevin Smith, you know, like Clerks and all that.
Oh,
yeah. And I think 4-letter words in my mind is a movie. So I'm like, that is a bigger, complicated project. And I'm like, you know what? Let me write myself a little movie. So I've also I call my hiking project Trail Satan too, to make fun of myself. So that's, yeah, just silly stuff. Trail Satan, kind of like hail. Yeah.
Trail
it's silly.
Satan.
Trail. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But seitan is just like a vegan meat substitute, and there's like seitan is commonly what jerky is made out of. Like they make jerky out of seitan, so then it's
I don't believe you now. I think it's actually made out of vegans.
It's made out of vegan people. Yeah, and so then you got some Soylent Green reference in there too. Like it's gonna be a really fun project. I'm really excited about that. But I have so many things going on, so you can't die if you have so many projects. You will just live forever. Azrael.
I guess.
That's the key.
You just have to keep plugging along.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the key.
All right. We got to get back to that Vella. We got to get back to Vella. Back to Vella. All right. So in the course of writing Vella, I'm sure that you have read some Vellas, yes?
I love them. Yes.
And what would you like to tell us? Would you like to tell us, give a shout out to any Vellans?
Okay, so let me grab my phone. I have a very bad memory, so I do not remember anything off the top of my head. Give me a second. I was going to talk about, here's my phone. I kept it right by me so I could do this.
Awesome.
Don't mind me. Here's where I'm gonna get anxious. Also, I'm a nerd. I have my little handle and my book series thing on the back of my phone.
Oh, that's
it's an easy way to sell yourself. And like I'll put like my business cards in there and then just be like, hello, I wrote a book. This is me. Because paying for advertising is very expensive. And so I just bought a bunch of business cards and I just hand them out to random people. And I'm like, hi, I wrote a book. And then the hat, like, I don't know. Just, yeah. Why not? All right. And hold on one second. Where's my Kindle? I've been having so much fun. There's one story that reminds me of Anita Blake. I love Laurel K. Hamilton. She's another influence for me. And it's Ringmaster by Des Sweet.
Des.
Oh my gosh. Yes. That is super good. I actually have, and I love Slaughterhouse by Jen Sequel. Jen Sequel is amazing.
She is indeed.
Gosh, hold on a
So
second.
I'm hearing some.
There are so many good ones. Like I'm trying, like the things that like just grab me. You know what I mean? Oh gosh, and the gal that's writing the really like helpful. There's like kind of like a how-to.
Yeah,
like
you're talking about Kendra Griffin.
She is wonderful. Oh my gosh.
Awesome? Oh, she's going to be so happy.
And I have such a hard time with nonfiction. Like I'm just an emotional gal, you know what I mean? And I just want to know everybody's like feelings and stuff. And it's just perfect. And it keeps me like just paying attention. And then I have my friend V Dunstan has a story, and she is, oh, and then this one isn't up right now, but there's a wonderful author, and I think she might be retooling the story because I looked for it because I wanted to tell you about her too, because she's not in any of these groups. Her name is Cornelia, Cornelia Amiri, and she wrote a story called Rare Finds. So I'm hoping it will come back, or that she'll put something else out, because she's lovely and she's not online or anything. Like she isn't in any of these groups. So I wanted to give her like an extra shout out because she's not.
Cornelia Waddy who?
Cornelia Amiri, Amiri.
So how does that work? Okay, so now that you've named a Cornelia
Yes.
Amiri here.
So I had downloaded the episodes,
okay,
right?
okay, that's what I wanted to know. How does that work?
So
You
they are
paid for 'em, so
still,
you got them.
I have them. I have access to all the episodes that I purchased,
Right.
but I did not finish the story. Like,
And
I
it's
was
gone.
yeah, it's just not there. And so like, yeah, I know. So I don't know if there was like a good reason why, like, it, like, I don't know.
You know how hard it is to get Amazon to take one of these down?
It's just not there. Like, I don't know why. So like, maybe like, hopefully it'll come back up because it's a great story. It's like a fun like space opera kind of thing. Like I love like Repo the Genetic Opera, and like Rocky Horror is really fun. You know what I mean? So that kind of style for me always gets me. Oh gosh. Well, and I mean, you gotta throw it out to Shell Combs too. Like, and her Shell, her
Tess?
7 stories she's just amazing. Yeah.
I posted about her in Hella Vella on Facebook today.
Oh my gosh.
I had
and
to.
then just her vibe too. Like,
she's got a great
just
vibe.
the ambassador to like everything. I joined so many more groups because of her specifically.
Really?
So yeah, so that would be a lovely shout out.
That. She'll love that.
Yeah.
And
I don't know, like she is so welcoming and like kind, like, and just such an ambassador. Like that's the word. It really feels like I think that she creates a lot of excitement, and so do you.
What I thought was awesome was what she said during our interview was that she wanted, when she started writing her Vellas, that she decided she wanted to be in those, the little trope bubbles, the little, like, fantasy, whatever.
Yeah.
And she decided she wanted to be in there with like Gage Greenwood and, some of the other big ones, the oh my God, the author of Chew.
I can't remember names unless I'm looking at stuff. I have the worst memory for an author. You have no idea.
Man, no. You and I would just sit around and go, don't you know that guy that was in that thing? And it was written by what's his name and directed by what's his.
Oh God. I can always remember a letter of the person's name. Like that's my psychic ability. I'll be like, I think their name's got an A. Like it's the first or the last name. I know I got it. Also,
every conversation talking about entertainment, it's like playing freaking like charades, okay.
Yeah. And I also accidentally in the beginning, and then like I think intentionally at some point, I never know what I'm doing. Like I'm a pantser. I do not plot. I just write from the seat of my pants, and I follow my feelings. The characters tell me the story. I hear dialogue. You know what I mean? And I don't remember where I was going with this. I got so excited.
Doesn't matter.
Oh God. It was so relevant to what we were talking about being forgetful. So,
but this is your interview, you see.
Comedy knocked it out of the park, right?
I like it. This is you. This is about you. You're just being yourself.
Oh gosh.
All right. So we have another question for you.
Please.
I know you're so happy with Kindle Vella. I don't know if I should even ask you this one. Now I ask everybody though. So if you had the power to make the decision, what changes would you make to Vella, if anything?
I'm all for constructive criticism. I think that's how we learn. You know what I mean? Pardon me. And so I really think that we need to like put this in the hands of like influencers. You know what I mean? Like they need to be just paying so and so, like, or Kim Kardashian or whoever, but not her, but like just somebody a little cheaper to just be like, hey, Kendall Vella. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, she costs too much money. Like, but somebody on Cameo, you know what I mean? Somebody with a good amount of followers. Because I mean, Amazon's got more money than God. Like, it's just if they need to promote it is the answer. Like they need to and promote it in a way where people are going to see it, because I think authors, like sometimes we promote to each other and we read each other's work, but then it's getting to just the readers, like the ravenous readers, you know.
That's what we want. And see, that's great. That's your answer. And I think that is the first time anybody has ever said, well, if I had the ability to do it, if I were Amazon, in fact, I know that is the first time that anybody has said, if I were Amazon, I would go out and hire a bunch of influencers to say, this shit is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Get your ass out here and read it.
It's just, and it's fun if you just, that's it, it's just word of mouth, like, but that's what people believe in nowadays. People don't give a crap about like a commercial, and people like pay for YouTube without commercials, you know what I mean? Like no one's paying attention to anything like that. We want to hear a story from the mouth of somebody. That's why TikTok works so well. And that's why I need to be just talking to the camera, because that's, I think the last thing I was just like, come F and read my books. I'm like, these are my ladies. Oh, I remembered what I was going to tell you, that all of my characters have A names. All of my heroines, they're Allie Jean, and then her last name, well, like it, you know, it changes because she grows up. But so then her last initial will be M, like at some point. And then we have April McCall in Meltdown, and then we have Arthricia Moore, all AMs. So that's my thing. It's my signature. And I think I maybe did it on accident at some point, but then I was like, no, I'm like, this works. I like this.
Oh, I like it too. That's a nice gimmick. I like that. Because your fans will be like, what's it gonna be?
Yeah, hopefully, right? I'm trying to make this fun because it's so much fun for me. And gosh, like, come join the party. Like that's the last place I worked was Spencer's, and that was kind of the mood. It was like life's a party, we're making it fun. That was our little slogan. And you know, slogans that get you, and like that one always gets me. Like, and I always tell people just when I'm hanging out somewhere, be like, welcome to the party. I'm like, let's go, let's have a good time, because if you bring that attitude, like, you know, that's the key. So we have to remember that life's a party. Like, we're here to have fun, guys, you know.
Need to remember what the alternative is.
Right. Very true.
So what else was I going to say to you? I don't remember, but this has been really, really awesome, really entertaining. What would you like to say? Because for every interview in the video description, I put all your Vellas, whatever you've if you've got anything out on Kindle, stick that out there, your social media. But I want you to tell me, or tell the person listening to this, the person's going to click on your stuff and read it because you're such a bubbly, outgoing, positive personality and a positive force. What would you like to say to them?
Oh gosh, wow, that's such a question now, isn't it? I just I'm here to make you feel something. I love art. I love film. I love books. And gosh, I love to cry. Like, you know what I mean? And I love to laugh. Like, I love to feel everything. And I would love to help you feel everything with me. It sounds very cheesy, and I could probably phrase it better than that for being a writer, but I want to share. That's, you know, I think that this experience doesn't work by yourself. And that's also a theme in all my books. Like, you know what I mean? A lot of characters are alone in the beginning, and it's finding your place and you're in the world and like your home and your people. And then also, like, if you lose those people, like, that you are okay too. You can rise up and like find it in yourself. It's neat. Something like that.
I love it. So you want to have them go on the emotional ride with you.
I come on a journey, but also like it's a ride. Like, let me tell you, like I talk feelings because that's where I write from, but like they're not always good feelings. I'm gonna hurt you. Like, get ready. It's fun, but it's like you're gonna get a little bruised. But I'm very sweet in the end. Like, so I'm not gonna totally eviscerate you. Like, I'll leave you. I won't leave you for dead.
Well, absolutely. I cannot wait. I'm going to definitely look into the Meltdown tonight, because that one I hadn't seen. I'd seen Ari in the Underground. I thought that was awesome. But I had not seen Meltdown. And Four Letter Words, I'd seen that, but since I hadn't read part 1, I didn't want to read part 2.
Do not spoil yourself. Yes, and it's going to be in Kindle Unlimited until at least July, so it's there right now. But
Okay.
I also I have paperbacks on my Etsy, which should be linked on that link tree. Or you can get them on Amazon. I sign them if you get them on the Etsy, and they're the same exact price. So
Okay, very
yeah,
cool.
which is fun. Yeah.
And we're going to have all these links are going to be here for you guys to click on in the description. And so I think that's it for today.
Thank you
Ready to
so
say bye,
much,
Haley?
Azriel. Yeah, thank you. I'm sorry I didn't mean to interrupt. Thank you
No.
so much. This has been so much fun.
I have
I'm
really enjoyed it. Bye,
been a blast.
everybody. We'll see you on the next one.
Bye.